Hey y'all, it's Leah. Okay, so today I just want to talk about Yamato for a quick moment and sort of pinpoint his mindset since the recent chapter got me thinking about Yamato from a psychological standpoint. So I feel like by now we have a taste of Yamato's personality and quirks, but here's the thing. I personally believe that Yamato's I am Odin trait might go a little deeper than just being a character quirk. So I'm gonna just make an accusation. Yamato may have minor self-identity issues. Yeah. Now I know you guys are like, duh, we've been through this or whatever, but I think we all saw it as a simple character quirk at first. But I have a feeling that Oda may be setting it up to be something deeper than that. I'm also speculating that there may be a possibility that Yamato experienced a self-identity crisis at the age of 8 that followed him to the current time period of the story. But I'm about to break all of this down and explain to you guys why I feel like this for Yamato. So sit back, relax, grab your snacks, and without further ado, let's get to it. Before we start, I just want to say that this has nothing to do with Yamato's gender or what gender Yamato identifies as, so please don't take this video in that context. This is mainly based on Yamato's obsession with Odin and what we've seen of his personality so far. So cool? Cool. So if you haven't read One Piece Chapter 988, then I recommend you go read it before continuing on any further to this video, because I will be discussing spoilers. So with Yamato in his recent chapter, when Luffy told him to go help Shinobu to protect Momo, he basically replied with this: well, it should be fine since he would naturally be my son, and it's presented as sort of a gag, funny moment. But we all know that Oda does every scene and interaction with some form of importance and is known to drop subtle hints within his character interactions. And I personally believe that he is setting up Yamato for a character arc that will tackle the topic of identity issues. Because based on what Yamato said in his little interaction, it seems to me that this is more than just some deep admiration for your idol. Because he addressed Momo as my son, and I'm pretty sure you wouldn't say something like that if you were just carrying on Odin's will, and even if you were acting as Odin, you probably shouldn't take it that far to the point where you call your idol's biological son your son. For example, that's like if I really admired Beyonce, which I do to a healthy extent, and it ran so deep that I wanted to act as her. I'm pretty sure if this was just a healthy admiration, I wouldn't go as far to call Beyonce's biological daughter my own daughter, even if I was just self-proclaiming as her. So just with this response from Yamato alone, I'm beginning to think that he is taking this Odin persona to a point where he might be either forgetting or throwing away his own identity as Kaido's son. And with Yamato's introduction, Oda presents it as self-proclaimed Kozuki Odin. So I thought, oh, Yamato's gonna act quote-unquote like Odin and looks up to him as an idol or hero. But this little interaction got me thinking that maybe Yamato is really trying to be a replica of Odin, which I know many of y'all are like, duh, Leah. But the fact that he went as far to call Momo his own son says that something else is going on within Yamato's mindset that's convincing him that he is Odin or some sort of reincarnation of Odin. So let's present the evidence. First, let's define what it means to have an identity crisis. So for Merriam-Webster, an identity crisis is a personal psychosocial conflict, especially in adolescence, that involves confusion about one's social role and often a sense of loss of continuity of one's personality. Okay, so common signs of an identity crisis is if you're questioning a bunch of things and is often unsure about your sense of self. One thing I noticed with Yamato is that he can be often unsure about many things and doesn't really have a solid viewpoint on certain things and opinions. First example, when he was talking to Luffy and Luffy said, "Oh, you can't be Kozuki Odin," Yamato shot back and said, "Okay, then maybe you're more Odin than me." If Yamato was so sure that he was Kozuki Odin, then why would he deflect and tell Luffy that maybe you're more Odin than me? And you see that Luffy is confused by this and replies with, "How am I more Odin?" Second example, Yamato told Oti that the day for me to become Kozuki Odin has come. Based on his previous dialogue, Yamato was already addressing himself as Kozuki Odin, so it's kind of a head scratcher when he says this, that this is the day he becomes Odin. And the third example is when Yamato began questioning to save Momo or not, which throws Luffy off by the indecision after witnessing Yamato be so passionate acting as Odin. So I personally think that Yamato lack a solid thought, hence that Yamato may not have a strong sense of self and a mindset of his own. Besides Yamato's experience of witnessing Odin's death, I speculate that a traumatic experience happened to Yamato that pushed or led him to want to be exactly, and I mean exactly, as Odin. Maybe Yamato never had a chance or moment to become his own person. Maybe Kaido was so strict on Yamato that he never left him room to discover himself and his own identity. It could be a major possibility since he apparently put Yamato through a lot of abuse. So I'm even more curious about Yamato's backstory and upbringing, because I do believe that your childhood serves as some form of a catalyst of who you become as an adult. And I genuinely believe that Yamato's self-identity crisis began either when Yamato was a child or a teenager, and it ran so deep that it followed Yamato into adulthood. But this is all just speculation. And the fact that Yamato sees Odin's journal as his personal Bible, it's a major possibility that Yamato views Odin as his god and wants to be the same as his image. So he might operate in a what would Jesus do type of mindset, but in this case, what will Odin do? But not saying that having a religion means you have self-identity issues, but knowing that Yamato basically worships Odin like a deity, him wanting to be a replica of Odin can be supported by this fact. So the last piece of evidence I would like to bring up is the meaning behind Yamato's mask. Now Yamato's mask is based on the Hanya mask that is typically used in Noh theater, a traditional Japanese performance art. The Hanya mask represents a jealous female demon who often starts off as a normal female, then ends up becoming a demon after being betrayed, leaving her feeling sad, angry, and often jealous. Now we all know that Oda loves to tie in the inspiration of a design within the character's background and personality, although I don't think Oda will go that far with connecting the symbolism of the Hanya mask to Yamato's personality. But I have a strong feeling that Oda may use the symbolic emotions of the Hanya mask to explain Yamato's character and his deep motivation to wanting to be a replica of Odin. Now envy is a form of jealousy, and I feel like Yamato has such a deep longing to be as Odin that he may feel a bit envious of the lifestyle Odin lived, which in a way connects to the Hanya mask's symbolic meaning. I can feel you guys saying to yourselves that I may be reaching on this evidence, and I understand, but remember that this is all my speculation based on my observation of Yamato so far. Yamato may just be Odin's Bartolomeo, but to a more extreme extent. But that's pretty boring for a character with such a cool character design, a sick-ass introduction, and a title such as Kaido's Child. And I believe that Oda is not going to just leave Yamato to just be this Odin fanboy. Now, this is not to bash Yamato in any way. I really love Yamato's character. Despite not seeing too much of his personality these past 6 chapters, I feel like Oda is going to do some great things with this character as the arc progresses and give Yamato some really good character development and a good character arc. But I can understand if some people start to feel annoyed by Yamato's character since for these past 2 chapters, Yamato's all like Odin, Odin, Odin. But have patience, guys. You know that Oda is a very setup, then bam kind of writer. So instead of complaining about Yamato this soon about his Odin obsession, try to look deeper into it and question his character from a psychological standpoint and what could possibly be Oda's motives in making him behave like this. And I'm pretty confident that by the end of this arc, Yamato will become his very own person while still having a deep love for his childhood hero. And hopefully, he'll learn the difference between carrying someone else's will and wanting to be an exact replica of someone you look up to, and learn how to be his own person rather than trying to be someone else. But we'll just have to cross our fingers and wait and see. Have you also thought this about Yamato? Or do you just see Yamato as an intense Odin fanboy? Do you believe Yamato has some sort of deep identity issues or not? And if there is any more evidence or speculation you would like to add to my accusation, then feel free to comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, then it'd be really cool if you no like that like button, because it will really help your girl out. Please subscribe for more One Piece related videos in the future. Hit that bell notification so you can always be notified whenever I post. Links to my socials and Discord are in the description box below. Please stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!